Good day, everybody. Welcome back to Aim High. Today we got a good one. The question is this: is this Christian rapper? He goes by the name of Dee-1. Is he out of line? Is he out of pocket? Calling out Rick Ross, calling out a multitude of these hip hop artists. And as I said, guys, he goes by the name of Dee-1. And guess what? I've been listening to Dee-1 since day one. And I'm just going to share with you guys this video, and there are multiple clips here, guys. All right. And also we got Rick Ross responding. And the question is, did D1 did D1, you know, go overboard? Was this necessary? Why did he do that? Why did he choose to literally expose the industry for what it actually is? And these specific artists by name. All right. So let's get right into it, man. This is what D1 had to say to Rick Ross or about Rick Ross. And he mentions a few others. And we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it, guys, because it's a lot I have to share here. But check this out. Once again, there's multiple clips here, so just bear with me. And I also have a Bible passage to kind of tie everything together. Check this out.
Jim Jones, you could do better, brother. I love you too much. I love you too much to not be honest with you. Rick Ross, you could do better, brother. Meek Mill, you could do better, brother. I love you too much not to be honest with you. Are you the face of prison reform? Because are you the face of prison reform? Or are you sitting here on your new song with Ross talking about getting somebody murked and shot at the red light? Which one is it, bro? Which one is it, bro? Because I did a shoe giveaway in my city and gave out 1,300 pairs of your shoes because they said reform underneath them. And I love that you partnered with a major shoe company and you out here pushing prison reform. But now I got to sit here like, man, this man glorifying getting people killed as of a week ago. Like, what are you doing, bro? Lil Snoop really got killed. That broke your heart. You wear him around your neck. Why are you glorifying the same thing when my best friend got killed? When Carl got killed, New Orleans know who I'm talking about. When Carl got killed, and I had to go to his funeral and read the eulogy and be part of the funeral. And I got back in my car, Sway, after the funeral, and I turned on my music, and I realized I'm listening to music that's glorifying the same stuff that just happened to my best friend. It gave me chills, and I needed that moment. That was my come to Jesus moment of like.
Right off the bat, guys, he moved Sway. He moved Mr. Sway in the morning. Guys, he's basically laying out the playing field here. And he's basically saying that you can't say one thing out of one side of your mouth and then you're saying another thing or doing another thing on the other side of your mouth. But there's something deeper here. And I think D1 knows, but he doesn't really talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it a little later. When I get to what Rick Ross's response, I'm actually going to mention what's already something that is brewing in my mind, because there is a reason, right? There is a quote unquote legitimate reason as to why these specific artists, and not only them, but many in the mainstream, on one hand, they do their good deeds and they're out there investing, but on the other hand, they're preaching guns, drugs, violence, sex, the list goes on. But anyways, let's continue.
D, you got to do something different, brother, because you have a taste for this poison, but you're attracted to the poison. And rap is great. The rap game, hip hop industry is great at cooking up some delicious poison. I don't call you out because I got a problem with you, man. Like, I wish we could go get lunch right now, me and any of them. I love you too much to not be honest with you.
There you go.
That's what it is, bro.
Yeah.
And so if anybody feel bad about being called out, it's like, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk about it and let's just figure out what we can do better. But at the end of the day, guess what's not changing? The word of God ain't changing.
Okay.
There's death and life in the power of the tongue, Proverbs 18 and 21. That's not changing. And trying with this foolish argument that it's just entertainment. This ain't real. How many more people got to die in the hood, man? How many people at the end of the day, lives got to get ruined and poisoned? And how many rappers got to get killed for us to be like, come on, man, when it's hip hop, it's a whole culture, and it's implied that this is autobiographical and this is non-fiction tales that people are telling. How much does that have to happen? So don't hit me with that. People just don't want to confront the reality of this stuff.
So basically, guys, the question is this: was he wrong for confronting Rick Ross and all these other artists when it came down to the things in their music, the content in their music? the hypocrisy. He's calling them out. And this clearly reminds me of the ministry of Christ, how Christ will literally expose and call out the religious leaders for saying one thing on one hand, but yet they are practicing something totally contrary to what they are actually preaching, or vice versa, right? Now, unfortunately, many people got on Dee-1 for basically being upfront in exposing these particular artists and not dealing with it in a more quiet, one-on-one manner. And this is a second response from Dee-1 where he gets into this particular issue in depth. All right. And I'm going to share with you guys exactly my thoughts actually after I play this for y'all.
I hear some people saying, why would you publicly challenge certain artists that are glorifying murder and drug dealing and negativity in their music? The better question is, why would you not? If they have the audacity to publicly push these messages out there and reach the masses with them, then we should have the audacity to publicly oppose these messages. It don't go like, oh, you could put all that harmful stuff out there and reach whoever you want loudly and proudly, but we got to hit you up one-on-one on the cool. Like, if we got an issue with it, we got to say something behind the scenes and quietly, because we don't want to offend you. If we're trying to do God's work, it don't work like that. See, for the first time, a line is being drawn, and that line is making people uncomfortable because you having to decide what side you on. Are you on the side that's okay with them messages and okay with the impact of those negative messages? Or are you on the side that's like, nah, we ain't rocking with that?
Guys, there's no middle ground here. And he's 100% completely right. And unfortunately, we have taken that which is totally wicked, totally contrary to truth, to life, to godliness, and we have decorated it in entertainment. And that's the way we receive it. We receive it as just entertainment, fully knowing that it goes way beyond entertainment. Like, obviously, based upon the first video that I shared with you, he makes mention of a passage of scripture that speaks about death is life and life is in the power of the tongue, which is, there's obviously a lot of truth to that. That's Bible. And what is being communicated actually matters. All right. What's being communicated is not merely entertainment, but it's true. So many are so scared to admit the obvious. And for once, finally, someone steps up to the plate and says, enough of this. All right. If you're going to worship God, worship him. If you're going to worship Baal, worship him. All right. Like, there has to be a divide and a consensus. And we have to stop marrying the world, okay, in their unrighteousness. And the world has to choose whether or not they want to take heed and receive that which is truly fruitful and beneficial, or if they want to continue to consume that which is toxic and violent and not of God, and do not complain when it comes down to reaping the consequences that actually do come from taking in, from receiving, and from manifesting the evils in the industry. But once again, guys, we know how deep it is, so that's why we decorate it and we paint it as mere entertainment. But finally, and this actually brought great joy to me, finally, someone decides to step up to the plate and say enough of this. And this was so deep, so cutthroat, so to the heart, so convicting, to the point, guys, to the point that Mr. Rick Ross actually had to make a response. He could not leave this alone because it hit him right between the heart. All right. And let's continue with this, but because he makes mention of a lot of great points here, guys. And once again, so far, I'm 100% on Dee-1 side. And we're going to talk about if whether or not it's actually okay or even biblical to expose and to make known and reveal sins in public. Because that's what he's talking about here, right? A lot of folk have issues with that. And once again, guys, as he just said, right? If the world, if those who are sharing death could stand on pulpits and platforms, and I say pulpits for a reason, because there are a lot of corrupt, unfortunately, Jesus actually said in the last days, the first thing, many will say that they are of Christ and they will deceive many. Okay? Many on pulpits preaching Jesus, but preaching a different gospel, preaching a different doctrine. They got to be called out. They got to be exposed. I'm sorry. Why? Because the recipients are the ones who are being contaminated. Jesus told his disciples, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. And what did he mean? The doctrine of the Pharisees, the teaching of the Pharisees, because it will contaminate you and it will destroy you. So, of course, these things need to be called out for what it is. But once again, guys, because we want to be, respectable people and, we got to be the nice guys. The world is continuing to trample on the purity and the righteousness and the holiness and the truthfulness of God. And we all know, for those of us who are believers, that the truth is the only thing that could truly set all men free. And Dee-1, finally, someone has the boldness to stand on stage. He went on Sway in the morning and expose the darkness, bring light into the darkness, and reveal to the whole world, hey guys, cut it out. Enough of this.
You heard me? And a lot of people never had to decide which side of the line they was on. And it's making people uncomfortable right now. But that's not finna make me quiet. That's not finna make us quiet. Because when you're doing God's work, it ain't something to be quiet about. It's something to be proud of.
Meek Mill, you could do better. Jim Jones, you could do better. Rick Raw, you could do better.
So this is Rick Ross's response, obviously, as you can see. So right off the bat, he comes off mocking Dee-1. Rick Ross, he could do better. Jim Jones, he could do better. Meek Mills, he could do better. And I just want you guys to feel his energy here, all right? Feel his energy here. And then after this, guys, I'm going to share with you guys a passage of scripture that kind of brings everything together. But not only that, though, Dee-1 actually does respond to Rick Ross here, okay? But check this out, guys. There's a few things I want to point out in regards to Rick Ross's response. How do you respond when someone calls you out? When someone exposes you, right? When you're dealing with that conviction, how do you go about it? How do you respond? This is how Rick Ross responds, and this is how every self-righteous person responds. Check this out.
I gotta see you do better. Wait, little man, whoever you is, until you feed the kids where you from for 20 years straight. Don't question Rose. Wait until you buy 10,000 bikes, 10,000 trikes. Give all the young girls who pregnant Pampers for Christmas for 20 years straight. Don't question boss. You heard me, little man? Get that basket off.
Okay, before let me rewind it a tiny bit because I want to get, there's another point that he makes there that I want to talk about separately. But he basically starts with exalting his self-righteousness. Until you do what I did, until you could do the good that I have done, you have nothing to say to me. Until you have been a Christian for X amount of years, you can't tell me this. Unless you have saved or witnessed or did this or did that, you can't tell me nothing, right? So basically the same within the church, the same in the world. Human beings live in this bubble of self-righteousness. And what he's doing now is he feels so convicted. All he could do is front load the good things that he has done in order, guys, listen, in order to counteract and basically blanket the wickedness and the evil that he has literally brought into the industry through his lyrics. So the same stuff that Dee-1 was literally targeting and exposing and telling him, hey, look, guys, you got to stop this, right? And do something positive, and or at least stop being hypocritical. What Rick Ross does is he says, hey, look, I am doing something positive. Matter of fact, what I am doing, you did not do anything even close to what I am doing for the community, so you better not talk to me. So he's boasting in his self-righteousness, and he's using his self-righteousness as a way to cover up his guilt, to cover up the conviction, to cover up his sin, to cover up his wrongdoing. And people do this every single time. I used to say this, guys. When I was doing youth ministry, I asked the youth one day, if you die today and you stood before God, what and if God was to say, why is it that I ought to let you in to my paradise? My question to these youth was, what would you say? I asked them, what would you say? What would be your response to God? And they responded, and I said this: if you put anything in God's face, if you respond in a way that actually elevates your self-righteousness. I've been to church every Sunday. I never skipped a Sunday. I was good to my parents. I obeyed the law. I read the Bible, front to back, year in and year out. I did this, I did that. I fed the hungry. If you are going to exult in your self-righteousness, you have no part with God. Why? Because your self-righteousness cannot heal, all right? Cannot heal nor cover nor answer the issue concerning sin and guilt. So this is what Rick Ross is resorting to. He's saying, I am more righteous than you. Why are you talking to me? But he's not dealing with the root issue, his sin, the things that he is perpetrating in the industry. And he's doing that on purpose, as I mentioned earlier in the video. Why is he doing this? I want to tell you exactly why he's doing this. He's doing this for one thing, guys. He has to hold on to the world. He needs the treasures and the glory and the fame that the world possesses. He's holding on to this in a way, the same way Jesus was tempted by Satan in the wilderness. Satan said, if you bow down to me, I'll give you all the treasures of the world. So there is an understanding here, at least coming from Rick Ross. This is literally what I see. I could see right through him, where he understands that, hey, look, I can't deal with that issue, D1. I can't deal with the issue that you're bringing up. Why? Because you're telling the truth, but I need to override that, because if I deal with that, and if I actually listen to you, and if I humble myself, and if I actually repent, I am going to lose all that the world has to offer me. The riches, the fame, the glory, the allure. So it's funny because a lot of people in the world will be like, man, those Christians are judgmental, they're legalistic, they're this and that. But people in the world are exactly the same, if not worse. Legalistic, judgmental, human. All right? And that's how Rick Ross is responding. When he's responding in a way that actually exalts his flesh, exalts his good, all right, in order to counteract the wrong. And guys, that's wrong. That's wrong, man. That's wrong.
Don't question boss. You heard me, little man? Get that basket off your head so you could think clear, little man. You going viral for speaking on niggas' names, not because of your talent, not because of your gift. Go viral, player, off of your wisdom that you're sharing.
By the way, there was a notice prior to Rick Ross's response. By the way, my apologies. So I'm going to just say it right now, guys. Warning, all right? There are inflammatory words that he does use in his response. So just keep that in mind.
You speaking on that? Yeah, Meek Mill. You know how many niggas died this summer? They released self-destruction. This niggas dying right now. It's going to be niggas don't make it to see in the morning. Get that basket off your head, boy, and come together with real niggas around the world. So when your grandma need a kidney, nigga, since you want to go viral, I'm going to show you how to go viral, little man. But go viral feeding them kids in your hood. Go viral giving them bikes away. Go viral Christmas time. Now, don't be saying Jim Jones just gave away goddamn 6 figures worth of clothes in his hood.
Exalting the goodness, exalting their self-righteousness. We gave this, we gave that. Still not dealing with the root issue. Still not dealing with the root cause. Ascribing to D1 as little man. Take that basket off your head. So resorting to insults. Guys, this is what the scribes and the Pharisees did to Jesus. Resorted to insults, said he's just from Nazareth, he's worth nothing. This is how the unrighteous world deals with righteousness. They have to go about it this way. to suppress the truth because the truth hurts, the truth stings. But Rick Ross, my brother, I love you. You don't have to hide behind your self-righteousness. You just don't have to. You really don't have to. All right?
And you a nigga who talking, looking vegan, knowing you eat more goddamn Piggly Wiggly bacon than any other nigga out here. Shut up. Yeah, Mr. Rasta, man. Mr. Vegan, man. Make sure you go viral. Thanksgiving when you stuff the stuffing upon the turkey. Bombshell, asshole. Make sure you dangle from the net. Start with the old lady, then bless the old lady all the way down to the youth, them. You understand, Rasta, man? And little man, I know real Rastas, which you are far from. You heard me?
Rick Ross. First.
So before I get to D1's response, guys, I'm asking a serious question. It's okay. Like, this is, look, guys, please, if you don't agree with my stance on this so far, let me know in the comment section. Let me know, because as far as I've been able to tell and see, Rick Ross just seems like he got real hurt. He feels really offended in whatever way, but he refuses to deal with the root cause. He continues to bring up the good stuff that he's doing in the community, and he continues to attack. So I'm just confused. Is this the way? Is this a pure way to respond? But check this out, though. I'm gonna come right back to this, guys, because you have to make sure you stick around for D1's response here. But I want to share with you guys something very, very interesting in the scriptures. Very, very interesting, guys. So in the book of Matthew chapter 14, this has to do with an interesting story dealing with John the Baptist. John the Baptist was a prophet, and he was preaching the gospel, the message of repentance, meaning turning away from your sin, having a change of mind, coming to God. That's the message that he was teaching and preaching. And check this out, though, all right? Because now what he does is he goes at, specifically similar to what D1 is doing with Rick Ross, he's going at someone who is considered a prominent figure in the society, in first century Palestine society, all right? And his name goes by Herod. Herod was the governor of Galilee at this time. And check this out, guys. At the time, Herod the Tetrarch heard about the fame of Jesus, and he said to his servants, by the way, the word Tetrarch here is the word governor, all right? So as I said, he was a governor. He was actually the governor of Galilee. And this is what he says. He says, this is John the Baptist, right? Talking about Jesus. He has been raised from the dead. John the Baptist has been raised from the dead. Follow me, guys. That is why these miraculous powers are at work in him. All right. So he's basically saying that John the Baptist has been raised from the dead. All right. So it's interesting because you're going to see exactly what happened to John the Baptist. Like, why did he die and how did he die? So Herod is like, dang, Jesus is like, the reincarnation of John the Baptist, because he's doing these miraculous powers and works. So in a sense, it's kind of like he knows that John the Baptist was a man of truth. So when he's seen Jesus and he's seen the miraculous works and the things being done through Jesus, he's seen John the Baptist in Jesus. And he's like, oh my goodness, John the Baptist has raised from the dead? Why? Because he's doing these miraculous works and these powers. And this is why. All right. And I believe that deep down in Rick Ross's heart, he knows D1 is right. That's why he's responding the way he is. But deep down, he knows. For Herod had seized John and bound him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because John had been saying to Mr. Herod, it is not lawful for you to have her. Okay? It's not lawful for you, Herod, to have your brother's wife. And though he wanted to put John to death, he feared the people because they had held John the Baptist to be a prophet. But when But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before the company and pleased Herod, so that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she might ask. Prompted by her mother, Herodias, she said, "Give me the head of John the Baptist." All right? "Give me the head of John the Baptist and put it here on this platter." And the king was sorry. Why? Because deep down inside, even though he wanted to take out John the Baptist, even though he wanted to destroy John the Baptist, deep down inside, he knew John the Baptist was the man of truth. He felt convicted. He was angry at John the Baptist, but he knew deep down inside that John the Baptist was a man of truth. But unfortunately, he was surrounded by a lot of people, like Rick Ross is surrounded by a lot of people who want to trample over the truth as well, right? As I said, there are folks out there, unfortunately, that are actually throwing shade at Dee-1 for exposing Rick Ross and these other individuals for all the nonsense that they've been pushing. Not only them, but many, ever since the beginning. The stuff that they've been prompting up and pushing into the industry, the violence, right? The sex, the drugs, the murder, the things that literally cripple the black community in particular. So what happened? So he sent, and a command was given. He sent, and John was beheaded in a prison, and his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and then she brought it to her mother, and his disciples came and took the body and buried it. And they went and told Jesus what happened. All right. But once again, guys, he was like, when he seen Jesus, he literally thought that Jesus was John the Baptist risen from the dead. Why? Because John the Baptist lives in his conscience. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I honestly believe that the words of Dee-1 is going to live in the conscience of Rick Ross. The reason why a lot of people don't come to Jesus, I'm going to tell you exactly why. There are many people who know God who are just too scared. They care about what people think about them. They care about, being canceled. They don't want to be canceled. They want to be called to come to the events. They want to be everybody's friend. And Dee-1 is basically saying, I don't really care about friends. I don't really care about fame. I don't really care about subscribers. I don't really care about followers. I just care about the truth right now. Now, some may say he's doing this for show, or he's doing this to go viral, or whatever the case may be. This is not the best way to go viral, though. This is not the best way to go viral. All right, the hip hop community. That you talk about Beyonce. You want to go viral on Beyonce, the Beehive. There's certain people you probably don't want to go viral on in a negative way. But it takes boldness, and it does take the Spirit of God to say, hey, look, guys, right? And they're all from the same community. Hey, look, guys, let's stop the hypocrisy. And that's exactly what Dee-1 did. So just because you go viral or whatever the case may be, or you're dropping names, doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing it for selfish gain or whatever the case may be. But I believe that many times, ultimately, it is extremely necessary. It's extremely necessary when you understand the power and the influence that many of these individuals walk with and have over their communities. So, as I said, guys, exactly what we see in scripture, I can see something very similar right here. Now I'm going to go right back to the video. This is Dee-1's final response, all right? So Dee-1 made a few videos regarding Rick Ross, and then Rick Ross responds. And this is Dee-1's response to the video that I just shared with you guys, the clip I just shared with you guys of Rick Ross. Check this out, guys. Check this out.
First of all, I love you, brother, and I want you to know that, because you sounded a little upset in your video reply to me. But I love you too much to not be honest with you. And right now, you're deflecting. I was talking about your lyrical content, and you talking about turkeys. I'm talking about you as a hip-hop OG still glorifying murder and drug dealing in your music. And you talking about turkeys? Bro, more people are streaming your music than eating your turkeys. You can believe that, brother. Oh, then you can make fun of my accent and my hair, brother. That's lightweight, you hear me? What am I doing to help my community? Well, my whole adult life, I've been a middle school teacher, Now I'm a full-time hip-hop artist. Just dropped my 10th album. It's called Uno. You should check it out, actually. I've helped to give out hundreds of thousands of dollars in college scholarships for students around this country, done financial literacy tours year after year, brother. Shoe drives, toy drives, voter registration rallies, prison ministry. I'm currently a professor at Tufts University teaching the intersection of hip-hop and social change, and I'm a fellow at Harvard University. Ultimately, I'm just trying my best to do God's work in this industry, bro. Then you say, won't I go viral?
So hold on. I have to say this, guys. So someone say, hold on. Whoa. Why are you exulting in your self-righteousness, quote unquote? Or why are you sharing all the good things that you do? The reason why he's doing this, guys, is because Rick Ross chose to do it first. He did it in a way as if, look, hey, buddy, hey, little man. That's what he referred. That's how he referred to D1. He said, hey, little man, I'm doing A, B, C, and D. Until you could do that, until you could do those shoe drives and you could give out those turkeys and you could do this and you could do that good work or this good work, I don't want to hear from you. That's literally what Rick Ross said. So all D1 is really doing is he's actually defending himself. He's literally saying, hey, look, I do good stuff too. You know what I mean? So it reminds me of Paul in the book of 2 Corinthians where he didn't really want to talk about it, but he eventually had to. He said, hey, look, guys, I know that many are saying that I'm a false apostle because they're coming out and they have their power and they're doing all this kind of work. And I look so simple and I'm humble about my approach. But I experienced God in a very interesting way, right? That's what Paul the Apostle said. And he was talking about the fact how he was able to experience some type of revelation, right, in the third heaven and hear things that natural men do not hear and see things that natural men do not see. And he basically said, hey, look, he actually talked in the third person because he didn't want to put attention on himself. And he said, hey, look, the only reason why I'm sharing this, and by the way, God had to humble him. God had to humble him. But he said, the only reason why I'm sharing this is because you guys think I'm false. So unfortunately, sometimes we have to share or we have to show the receipts. Unfortunately, in order to get a little bit of respect. So that's all D1 is doing here. That's why he's saying, hey, look, buddy, I'm not what you think I am, right? I'm actually a guy who's sharing, and I'm really trying to let you know that I actually back up what I'm actually sharing, what I'm actually saying. Rick Ross is doing great things in his community, but at the same time, he's destroying his community with his lyrics, and he doesn't want to address the facts. Why, guys? As I said, there is a kingdom of darkness at work. There just is. And there's too much to lose for many of these individuals. So they gotta live in both worlds. You ever heard that terminology, 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Yeah, I got 1 foot in church, but I got 1 foot out of church. And I'm trying to walk that fine line. You can't live that way. You can't live that way, man. So, but when you get exposed, or when someone actually finally says, hey, look, you can't live that way, that's when individuals get really angry and amped up. But once again, God bless D1. All right. Not anybody could just do that. So God bless D1. I totally respect his approach.
Viral with my own content. Brother, you're a little late to the party. I've been successful for a while, man, and not having to glorify the things that's harmful to our community. Could you do that? I'm curious. Bro, I work with some of the same artists as you, The Game, Lupe, Big Crit, Juvenile, Manny Fresh, Currency, Kevin Gates, Sway, Charlemagne. These people know me, man. So as black men, let's do our best to do God's work and not glorify what's holding us down, man.
So yeah, man. I totally agree with him. And as I already mentioned, guys, there's a real reason as to why it's difficult for these individuals to see it that way. And even though they see it that way, even though they understand that, yeah, you know what? You're right, D1. You're right. Once again, guys, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. And I'm telling you the honest truth, guys. When their hearts are taken captive by the enemy, it's not... And the light shines in the darkness. The Bible literally says that when the darkness is exposed, those who dwell in the dark hate the light. All right. So there's nothing new here. Okay. This is not about D1 versus Rick Ross. People have to understand that. I know that a lot of people who may not be Christian, they may be looking at the outside and I actually seen a post that referred to D1 as a fake J. Cole. Right. They find all these different things, and they actually think that this actually has something to do with the physical world and about Dee-1 trying to be this guy. I don't know his heart, but you have to understand the way Rick Ross responded. I'm telling you this right now. That's a spiritual response in a bad way. That's a spiritual response. All right. He knows. He knows. So this is what needs to happen. What needs to happen, and this is not just about them. This is generally speaking. And I'm speaking to those of you who are not Christian. First of all, what needs to happen is you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be honest with yourself, and you have to ask yourself a serious question. If I am not of God, and I don't, and I'm in the world and I'm doing my thing, let that be so. If I'm going to serve the world, serve money, serve women, serve whatever it is, serve materialism, let that be so. Allow me to be me. And in all honesty, as much as I may want you to come to Jesus and to be free of your sin, I will respect you for not being a hypocrite. We don't have to live hypocritical. We don't have to tell people and show people our good works and at the same time use that to hide the filth. You are what you are. And for those of us who are believers, we got to be wise with how we say things and how we go about things. But at the same time, though, we got to be aggressive sometimes. We can't be scared every time. We got to understand what we are dealing with, and we got to be led by the Spirit in regards to how we go about dealing with specific things and situations. So I would say this, okay, before I come off this, I would admit this though. Maybe Dee-1's approach was a little aggressive. So as a man to a man, Rick Ross is probably like, bro, like, why are you talking about me like that? So I could see that. I'll give that to Rick Ross to a degree. But the things that Dee-1 said, guys, there's no apology for that. That was necessary. Okay? These guys gotta understand that you cannot justify those positions. So let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know if you guys think Dee-1 was off, or was he on point with addressing this and exposing Rick Ross, Jim Jones, and many others for what is actually fact. So yeah, that's my take on that. By the way, before I come off this, I want to share this with you guys. So I do have an email. All right. So for anybody who has any questions, concerns, you want prayer, you want to book me for a talk or whatever the case may be, hit me up, man. Hit us up at aimhigh.chat@gmail.com. That's my email address, and I will do my best to respond promptly as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the ministry. And once again, guys, let me know what you think about this. Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, man, that's what I got to share on this one, guys. Once again, it's aimhigh.chat@gmail.com. Hit me up. I will try my best to respond promptly to whatever questions that you may have pertaining to life, God, the Bible. All right. So that's my contact. And you could also follow us at AH_ministry. That's our IG. All right. So follow us there. I don't really post too often on Instagram, but I'm planning to do some things in the new year. But you can find us on Instagram as well. But yeah, man, let me know, guys, if you're going to watch on the replay. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I will respond promptly as I do with all my videos. Anyways, guys, that's all I got to share on this one. I love you all. And yeah, man, until next time, until the next one, take it easy. Y'all already know. It's all love. Peace.